Imagine meeting someone for the very first time. Within seconds, they've already decided whether they trust you, whether you're confident, whether you're intelligent, whether they should respect you or ignore you. The strange part is, they probably don't even realize they're doing it. We like to believe that human beings are logical, that we make careful decisions based on facts. But history, psychology, and everyday life all suggest something very different. We're emotional creatures who spend most of our lives trying to justify our emotions with logic. That is the central idea behind one of Robert Greene's most fascinating books, The Laws of Human Nature. Unlike the 48 Laws of Power, which explores how people gain influence, this book asks a deeper question. Why do people behave the way they do? Why do intelligent people make irrational decisions? Why do good people suddenly become cruel? Why do successful people sabotage themselves? And perhaps most importantly, why do we understand everyone else's flaws, but struggle to see our own? The invisible force controlling your life. Imagine you're driving home after a long day. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Your heart races. You become angry. You assume they're rude, careless, maybe even a terrible person. A few minutes later, you accidentally cut someone else off. This time, you tell yourself you were simply distracted. Same mistake. Different explanation. Why? Because human beings naturally judge others by their actions, but judge themselves by their intentions. Robert Greene argues that this is one of the greatest blind spots in human nature. We constantly create stories that make ourselves look reasonable, even when we're not. The problem isn't that we sometimes fool other people, it's that we often fool ourselves first. And once you believe your own story, reality becomes much harder to see. Lesson 1. Emotions drive more decisions than logic think about the biggest decisions people make. Choosing a career, getting married, starting a business, ending a friendship. Most people believe they carefully analyzed every option, but research in psychology suggests something surprising. Emotions usually make the first decision. Logic simply arrives later, to explain why it was supposedly the correct choice. Greene calls this emotional thinking. Instead of seeing reality as it is, we see reality as our emotions want it to be. When we're angry, everything looks offensive. When we're afraid, every risk feels dangerous. When we're jealous, someone else's success feels like our failure. The emotion changes, and suddenly the entire world looks different. That's why emotional awareness is one of the greatest advantages anyone can develop. Because if you don't understand your emotions will quietly control your life. Lesson 2. Your ego is constantly protecting itself. Imagine receiving criticism at work. Someone points out a mistake you've made. What's your first reaction? Most people don't immediately become curious. They become defensive. They explain. They justify. They blame circumstances. Not because they're bad people, but because the human ego is designed to protect our self-image. Greene explains that we all carry an ideal version of ourselves inside our minds. Competent, kind, intelligent, responsible. Whenever reality challenges that image, our ego fights back. Sometimes by denying the truth. Sometimes by blaming other people. Sometimes by refusing to listen. Ironically, the people who grow the fastest aren't those who make the fewest mistakes. They're the ones who can admit them without feeling personally attacked. Real confidence isn't believing you're always right. It's knowing that being wrong doesn't make you worthless. Lesson 3. Everyone wants to feel important. Think back to the last meaningful conversation you had. Chances are, the other person didn't remember every word you said, but they probably remembered how you made them feel. Human beings crave recognition. Not just money, not just success. Recognition, we want to feel respected. Appreciated. History is filled with leaders who understood this simple truth. The most influential people often made others feel valuable, not invisible. This doesn't mean fake compliments. People usually recognize those. It means genuine curiosity, listening carefully, remembering names, acknowledging effort, small actions that create lasting trust. One sincere moment of appreciation can build a stronger relationship than 100 impressive speeches. Lesson 4. The masks people wear every day, people perform different versions of themselves. The professional employee, the confident leader, the funny friend, the perfect parent, the successful entrepreneur. Most of these identities aren't completely fake, but neither are they the whole truth. Greene suggests that everyone wears social masks, not necessarily to deceive others, but to fit into the expectations around them. The problem begins when we mistake the mask for the person. Someone who appears confident may secretly feel insecure. Someone who seems calm may be carrying enormous stress. Someone who looks successful online may be struggling in private. The more you understand this, the less likely you are to envy appearances, because appearances rarely tell the complete story. So far, we've discovered that our biggest enemy isn't usually other people. It's the hidden biases, emotions, and illusions inside our own minds. But understanding yourself is only the first step. Because once you begin understanding human nature, you also begin noticing the invisible patterns controlling everyone around you. And that's where Robert Greene's most powerful lessons begin. The most dangerous person isn't evil. Their unaware imagines someone who never questions themselves. Every failure is someone else's fault. Every disagreement proves other people are wrong. Every success confirms they're a genius. At first, they appear confident, but over time, their relationships begin to fall apart. Their decisions become worse, and eventually, reality catches up with them. Robert Greene argues that self-awareness is one of the rarest qualities in the world. Most people spend their lives analyzing everyone else, while avoiding the uncomfortable truth about themselves. The greatest danger isn't ignorance. It's believing you already know yourself completely. Because once learning stops, growth stops too. Lesson 5. Envy shapes more lives than we realize. There is an emotion that almost everyone experiences, but very few people admit. Envy, it doesn't always look obvious. Sometimes it hides behind criticism, sarcasm, or indifference. Someone gets promoted. Instead of celebrating, people quietly search for reasons they didn't deserve it. A friend starts a successful business. Suddenly, others begin pointing out every flaw they can find. Greene explains that envy isn't usually about wanting someone else's life. It's about being reminded of what we believe we're missing. Social media has only made this stronger. Every day, we compare our ordinary moments to everyone else's highlight reel. The problem is, comparison never ends. There will always be someone richer, smarter, more attractive, or more successful. The healthiest response isn't pretending envy doesn't exist. It's recognizing it before it quietly turns into resentment. Because the moment you become inspired instead of threatened, someone else's success becomes proof of what's possible, not proof of your limitations. Lesson 6. People reveal themselves through patterns imagined. Meeting someone who is incredibly kind, generous, charming, for one day. Would you trust them completely? Probably not, because character isn't revealed by isolated moments. It's revealed by repeated patterns. Greene encourages readers to stop judging people by promises and start observing consistent behavior. Anyone can be patient once. Anyone can be honest once. Anyone can appear confident once. Real character is what remains when no one is watching. This lesson also applies to ourselves. Your future isn't built by one great decision. It's built by thousands of small habits repeated every day. Patterns create identity, not intentions. Lesson 7. Learn to see beyond appearances. One of the easiest mistakes we make is assuming appearances reflect reality. The loudest person seems the most confident. The richest person seems the happiest. The busiest person seems the most productive. But life rarely works that way. Some of the strongest people speak quietly. Some of the happiest people own very little. Some of the most successful people spend more time thinking than talking. Greene reminds us that surface appearances are often designed to create impressions. The real story usually exists beneath them. Learning to pause, observe, and question first impressions can completely change the way you understand people. What makes this book different? Unlike many self-help books, The Laws of Human Nature doesn't promise quick success. It doesn't offer a simple morning routine or a secret formula. Instead, it asks readers to confront uncomfortable truths, that we're biased, emotional, often irrational, and surprisingly predictable. That may sound pessimistic, but it's actually empowering. Because once you recognize these patterns, you gain something incredibly valuable. Choice. Instead of reacting automatically, you begin responding intentionally. Instead of blaming everyone else, you begin improving yourself. And that's where real growth begins. A challenge for the next 7 days, for the next week. Become an observer. Whenever you feel angry, pause, ask yourself, what emotion is really driving this reaction? Whenever you feel jealous, ask, what does this reveal about my own goals? Whenever someone disagrees with you, instead of preparing your defense, ask one more question. Listen a little longer. Notice how often your first impression changes. You don't need to change the world this week. Just become a little more aware than you were yesterday. Small moments of awareness eventually become wisdom. Final Thoughts Robert Greene's The Laws of Human Nature isn't really a book about other people. It's a mirror. It shows us the habits, biases, fears, and emotions we usually avoid seeing. It reminds us that every person is fighting invisible battles, that appearances can deceive, that emotions often speak louder than logic, and that understanding human nature begins with understanding ourselves. Perhaps the greatest lesson isn't learning how to read other people. Perhaps it's learning how to read your own mind honestly. Because the better you understand yourself, the less your emotions control your decisions, the less your ego limits your growth, and the more compassion you develop for everyone around you. Real wisdom isn't seen through other people, it's seen through yourself. If you enjoyed this documentary breakdown and want to explore more timeless books about psychology, influence, success, and human behavior, subscribe to Beyond the Pages. Every week, we go beyond the headlines and uncover the ideas that have shaped history and continue to shape our lives today. Until next time, stay curious, stay self-aware, and keep turning the page.